This video is sponsored by MSI. We build a lot of gaming PCs around here, but we never really touch on editing workstations. Well, that's going to change today as we built a pretty capable 4K editing PC in MSI's brand new MPG Velox 300R airflow case. At the heart of any editing machine is the processor, and the one we've gone with today is the Intel Core i7-13700K, mainly because I had it lying around, but it's still a very competent and very effective video editing processor. And that's mainly thanks to its integrated graphics, which gives us Intel's QuickSync, which can natively decode a lot of video codecs, which even RTX 3040 series graphics cards can't. But there is a curveball with the 13700K, and that's the Ultra 7 265K. It's around the same price, if not ever so slightly more, and you'll get a much newer platform which isn't at end of life. It's more efficient and it's also a bit more powerful for video editing, so that's what I recommend there. But I'll have that and the rest of the parts we use in today's video listed below in the description with my Amazon affiliate links, so if you want to check them out, you can pick them up. And because we're using a 13700K, we're stuck to LGA 1700. We're using the MSI Z690 Force Wi-Fi, which is very fitting because it works well with the 13700K, and it's MSI as well, so it ties in with the sponsor of the video. Anyways, it's got enough connectivity for any video editor, enough PCIe slots and M.2 slots, and it's got DDR5 memory support, which is a good thing because Crucial sent out 64GB of their Pro OC DDR5 memory, which is clocked at 6000 mega transfers per second with a cache latency of CL40. Are they the tightest timings in the world? Definitely not, but cache latencies don't matter on Intel as much as what they do on AMD, and the thing that matters is we've got the capacity there. I'd much rather have 64GB of slightly slower, loosely timed memory compared to 32GB, which is slightly faster, because after all, you want the capacity with a video editing machine. I really don't recommend 32GB. For our boot drive, we've got a Samsung 980 Pro 1TB. To be honest, any Gen 4 1TB SSD would do perfectly fine here. All you need it for is your operating system and core applications. The drive that really matters is the project and scratch disk. Here, Crucial sent out their P310 2TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD, and it's got plenty of space for all of our projects. And more importantly, it's got the speed as well. Even if you're rocking very beefy codecs like Sony's XAVCS All Intra, which is like 250 megabits for 25 frames per second. So yeah, this SSD is more than big enough. For the case, MSI sent out their MPG Velox 300R Airflow Z case, and initial impressions are very positive. Its toolless design is nice to see, especially if you're building a PC where you're going to be changing hardware a lot, because you don't even need screws for the side panels. And no matter what sort of PC build you're going to be planning, there's going to be plenty of space inside this. And in fact, it supports GPUs up to 400mm in length. And I know we've got pretty cable extensions for this build, but if you didn't want to see cables at all, it also supports Back Connect and Project Zero motherboards. So if you absolutely hate the sight of cables, this might be a good case for you. It's airflow in name and airflow in nature, because up front there's two 160mm PWM fans, but if you want to switch these out, you can put two 140 or 120mm PWM fans. And included in the back there is one 120mm PWM fan, so you're covered for most regular builds. But if you want to get a bit spicy with your build, there is a side intake or exhaust right here, but this could also be used as a distro plate as well. I've seen that, I'll put it on the screen for you now. It looks quite good. But if you want to go with a more conventional water cooling configuration, you can go with a 360mm rad up front, in the side, or up top. And to populate the top radiator slot, MSI sent out their MAG A13 360mm all-in-one liquid cooler. We took a look at it recently where it cooled the 13700K exceptionally well, and it prevented it from thermal throttling in Cinebench R23. That's quite an incredible feat. One thing I really like with MSI right now is their easy connect philosophy. So the fans for the MAG A13 360mm are already included straight from the factory. You don't need to do any mounting there. And also if you're running LGA 1700 or 1851, the mounting bracket is already secured to the cooler, so literally that just saves a good at least 10 minutes with our install process, so WMSI. Unironically, I haven't been this excited for a GPU in a long time. For our graphics card, we're going with the ARC B580, and this is the first time I've taken a look at one, so I'm pretty interested to see what it's going to be like, especially in video editing. However, I'm pretty convinced it's going to be pretty decent, especially as we used an ARC A750 in the past, and that was perfectly fine, especially with my Sony codecs. But if you're building a budget video editing machine, this should be a better pick than something like the RTX 4060 or 4060 Ti. And not to mention, you're also getting an extra 4 GB of VRAM, which will help with extra long projects and 1440p gaming if you want to play some games on your editing machine. And it fits into our MSI MPG Velox 300R with a lot of space to spare. As we've said, we can use GPUs of up to 400mm. The ARC B580 is getting nowhere close to that, so if you wanted to fill out the PC a bit more, you could always go with some of MSI's Vanguard or Supreme graphics cards. They're absolutely massive and will fit in this case. Also, if you're worried about GPU sag, don't worry about that, because there's a built-in anti-sag bracket, which is almost essential for these massive graphics cards these days. Yeah, it's the next day now, because I got to the point where I just didn't really want to shoot any more content. Anyways, we've got the PC up and running now, and cable management in the Velox 300R Airflow is pretty easy. There's quite a few Velcro zip tie, well, there's not really zip, but Velcro cable ties. That's the word I was looking for. Anyways, this makes cable management super easy. Yeah, I know I didn't really go into depth with the footage, but cable management's literally the most boring part of a PC build. Anyways, and then there's the lighting. On this case, you can control it via a button on top of it, which means you don't need to install movable software to control your LEDs. There's plenty of addressable RGB headers on there, and we hook the AIO up to it, so we don't even need to install any RGB software, which saves on a few CPU cycles. There's a few built-in lighting profiles, including static colors, which is a great option because I don't like flashy RGB all over the place. And as we've got an all Intel PC here, we went with some blue LEDs. But outside of that, we've done the regular PC building procedures like enabling XMP, which works totally fine on the Crucial Pro OC modules, and we've also adjusted the fan curves because out of the box, like, no one does fan curves properly, so we had to set that straight. I've sat here for almost an hour now doing the Puget system test for both Photoshop and Premiere Pro. I haven't done DaVinci Resolve as I don't own a Pro license for that, so it kind of wouldn't be representative. Anyways, but if we get the data up on my trusty phone, this system in Photoshop scored 13,083. This is a surprising score because my 7900X system with an RTX 3080 scored almost 3,000 less, so I suspect maybe Intel's got the performance advantage in Photoshop, so if you like to do quite a lot of photo editing, a system like this will do you quite nicely. However, when we go into video editing, this system does start to lag behind ever so slightly, but that doesn't mean it's a bad one, because our 7900X system got 11,076, but this one got 9,825. What this could be down to is the driver related things with Intel Arc, which is a very big possibility because the QuickSync in the Intel 13700K should be picking up quite a lot of the slack. However, in the past we've used an ARC A750 for video editing and that was absolutely fine. So I think as long as timeline performance is relatively smooth, especially with 4K footage, I think you'll have a pretty decent time editing with a machine like this. We're not just doing productivity benchmarks, as I've thrown in a couple of games as well, because after all, a great editing PC is also going to be pretty decent at gaming. And yeah, I think if you've done quite a bit of work on your machine, you deserve a bit of gaming time as well. Anyways, the first game we tested was Cyberpunk 2077 on the Ultra preset with XESS set to quality, and performance here was pretty great at 1440p. 85 FPS on average is really good performance, I'm not going to lie. I could definitely game with these settings. The second game we tested was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and to be honest, this isn't really the most optimized of games, But even then, at native 1440p, because there's no XeSS in this game and I didn't want to use FSR, and we also set the settings to the high preset, but with ultra textures, thanks to the 12GB of VRAM on this graphics card, we got 52 frames per second on average. This isn't terrible performance, and if you were playing on a controller, it'd be perfectly fine, to be honest. But even then, you could drop some of the settings down to medium or enable FSR, and you'll easily get above 60 FPS in this game. These might have been the only two games I tested today, but we are working on an ARC B580 benchmarking video, which we'll be releasing in the next couple of weeks. I really cannot wait to see what this graphics card can do. So make sure you stay subscribed for that. But anyways, if you wanted to kick back and just play some games after a 8-hour video editing session, I mean, this PC will be able to do it just fine, and if you were to opt with a different graphics card, the 13700K can handle very powerful GPUs like the RTX 5080, which we saw in a video recently, which you can watch after this one. It'll be linked somewhere on the screen. So, MSI's MPG Velox 300R airflow case is an absolute gem to build in. It's got plenty of cable management opportunities and plenty of configuration opportunities as well. As we've said, there are 3 places you could mount a 360mm radiator, and even then, if you want to free up one of those spaces and put in a distribution plate, you could always do that if you want to go with a custom loop system. And if you like to do quite a bit of maintenance to your PC, so you might like to clean it quite often, or you're building a test bench, you'll like this case because the side panel is totally toolless. You don't need a screwdriver to get it off, because all you do is just pop it off with your hands. And this goes for the right hand panel as well. So it's a case I recommend quite highly. If you want to pick it up, it will be linked in the description down below with all of the other parts which we've used in today's video. Some of these will be Amazon affiliate links. I do make a small kickback from these, but it does really help out the channel. Anyways, with that being said, if you want to see how the MAG A13 360mm cooler gets on, you can watch in a video up there. With that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.